From Scotland's haggis to Germany's Tony to the USA's Poppy, these young pygmy hippos have taken the internet by storm. Yet none have captured the spotlight quite like Thailand's Moo Deng, with her bouncy body, moist glow, and pure feminine rage. This little hippo has become an unlikely beacon of joy in times of global conflict and uncertainty. In this episode, we'll dive into the fascinating history of the pygmy hippopotamus, comparing it to its much larger relative, the common hippo, and discuss the tragic reality that soon we may be living in a world without pygmy hippos. Ah yes, history. A field where thousands of young people every year earn degrees in it for the sole purpose of disappointing their parents. To help us with history today, we have a guest from the past, a man instrumental in making sure the pygmy hippo arrived in American zoos, Harvey Firestone.
Good day, folks. Now, many of you know me as the fella who founded the Firestone Tire and Rubber Company and built it into a mighty empire. And along the way, I had the grand fortune of learning a whole heap about pygmy hippos while brutally exploiting the people of Liberia. Deep in the thick forests and swampy marshes of West Africa, you'll find the pygmy hippo, a rare, secretive creature tucked away from prying eyes. For centuries, the outside world didn't even know they existed. It wasn't until 1843 that American scientist Samuel G. Morton got his hands on a few skulls from Liberia. Then, in 1873, one brave hippo made the trip to Europe, though, regrettably, he didn't last long. But here's a slice of presidential history for you. In 1927, I, Harvey Firestone, personally gifted a pygmy hippo to President Calvin Coolidge. We named him Billy, and he took up residence at the National Zoo in Washington, D.C. And wouldn't you know it, old Billy's the patriarch of most pygmy hippos in American zoos today. From the depths of the jungle to the front lawns of America, a journey made possible by a splash of science, a little enterprise, and just a touch of good old-fashioned forced labor camps.
So the reason a pygmy hippo arrived in the United States had everything to do with your forced labor camps?
Why, yes. It all began with Firestone's Grand Plantation Project. We kicked things off with the forcible removal of indigenous communities, cleared out them forests, dumped a whole lot of pollution, and set up operations with brutally harsh conditions and next to no pay.
Sorry folks. We, regret to inform you that we did not background check our guest before inviting them on the show. On behalf of Zoological, I would like to formally apologize, and we'll continue on with the next part of our show. You might not have guessed it from just looking at them, but both common hippos and pygmy hippos share a surprising family connection. They're both closely related to whales. A 1999 genetic study showed that both hippos and whales share a unique genetic marker inherited from a common ancestor. Okay, so their common ancestor probably did not look like that. The genetic study did show that the closest relatives hippos have are whales, dolphins, and porpoises. In other words, hippos are related to cetaceans. This research led scientists to create a new clade name, Whippomorpha, referring to not only hippos, but their relatives that split with them 55 to 60 million years ago. Although whales are related to hippos, you're not likely to confuse the two. But when you compare a common hippo to a pygmy hippo, the family resemblance is so strong, you might not be able to tell me which one of these hippos on the screen is the pygmy. They have similarities beyond looks. Both are semi-aquatic, have thick skin, short legs, a large body, engage in nocturnal behavior, and have blood sweat. Blood sweat is a reddish oily fluid that is secreted from their skin glands. It's a unique chemical makeup that has only been found in hippos. Blood sweat is neither blood nor sweat. It's a fluid that acts as a water repellent, antibiotic, offers some sun protection, and moisturizes the skin. It appears red in sunlight, but it might also be contributing to Moo Deng's glow. Now it's time for everyone's favorite part of the video, the ad read. Are you getting older? We all are. Every day, getting older and older and older and older and older. Do you ever look at yourself in the mirror and think, what happened to me? I don't remember looking like this. Do you ever feel the soul-crushing weight of all your passions, hopes, and dreams fading further out of reach? Now, there's a revolution in skincare. Hippo Blood Sweat. This serum will lock in moisture in the dry seasons. Its natural antibiotic properties will have you saying goodbye to unwanted bacteria. And it acts as a deep moisturizer, restoring your skin's glow. But don't just take it from me.
I was really enjoying spending hundreds on a 50-step routine that made me look more radiant. Just look at the before and after picture. As you can see, I am practically a different person.
So you never achieved self-actualization. But with blood sweat, you can put some chemicals on your face and pretend it makes a difference.
That's right. Buy my poison cream today. You love buying things from morally bankrupt rich people. So don't ask any questions about my product and just consume.
So what you're telling me is Harvey Firestone is the sponsor of the ad. Brilliant. Well, at least he's gone now. So we've seen what makes them similar, but what makes them different? When comparing a common hippo to a pygmy hippo, we can see that the common hippo is in fact much larger in size. You may have assumed this by the name Pygmy Hippo, and you would be correct. When we measure both weight, height, and length, we can see that the common hippo is bigger in all of these categories. Additionally, it has more incisors in its mouth and a much larger head in proportion to its body. The differences go beyond just physical characteristics. While both common hippos and pygmy hippos are considered herbivores, there has been a difference noticed in their diets. Now, common hippos will primarily eat a diet that consists of plant matter. However, they have been seen consuming the corpses of deceased animals, displaying a more omnivorous tendency. In contrast, pygmy hippos are strictly vegetarian, eating a diet of roots, forest herbs, semi-aquatic plants, and fallen fruits. Common hippos are highly social animals. They often gather in large groups and are known for being especially aggressive when defending their territory. In fact, the common hippopotamus is widely considered the deadliest large land animal, responsible for an estimated 500 human deaths each year. In contrast, the pygmy hippo is far more solitary. They usually live alone or in a small group, like a mating pair or a mother and her calf. Unlike their larger relatives, they tend to avoid conflict and often ignore each other when crossing paths. During the day, pygmy hippos will hide in rivers and swamps to stay cool and avoid predators, often resting in the same spot several days before moving. Some will even take shelter in dens or burrows along riverbanks, although it's unclear if they dig these burrows themselves or if they simply repurpose existing ones. As for our final difference, we will look at a map of Africa. We can see that the common hippo inhabits a wide range of sub-Saharan Africa, living in open savanna riverbanks, compared to the pygmy hippo, which lives in a much smaller range in Western Africa. The pygmy hippo has in fact already gone extinct in Nigeria. These solitary animals are now only found in the countries of Liberia, Sierra Leone, Guinea, and Ivory Coast, with an estimated 2,000 to 2,500 individuals remaining in the wild. The International Union for the Conservation of Nature lists the pygmy hippo as endangered, and their already alarmingly low population continues to decline. Soon, we may be living in a world without the pygmy hippopotamus. So how did we get here? One factor is poaching. While pygmy hippos are occasionally hunted for food, despite existing wildlife protection laws, their nocturnal nature and elusive behavior makes them difficult to track. As a result, poaching tends to be more opportunistic rather than widespread. It does contribute to population loss, however, it is one of the less significant factors we'll be looking at. Habitat destruction, driven primarily by deforestation, poses the greatest threat to the survival of the pygmy hippopotamus. Forests are being cleared out at an alarming rate for various human activities, each compounding the species' vulnerability. Agricultural expansion has led to the conversion of their habitat into small-scale farms and commercial plantations focused on rubber and palm oil production. This fragments the landscape, isolating the pygmy hippo populations and limiting their access to essential resources. Illegal mining operations, particularly for gold and diamonds, further escalate deforestation, while causing severe soil erosion and water pollution. These extractive industries bring more people into remote areas, heightening the risk of illegal hunting and human-wildlife conflict. Perhaps the most devastating contribution is commercial logging, especially during periods of civil unrest where oversight was weak or non-existent. Vast stretches of forest were cleared for timber, and although regulations have since improved, much of the pygmy hippo's original habitat is already gone. The cumulative impact of these man-made factors contribute to the widespread and irreversible environmental destruction that jeopardizes the survival of the species.
Golly, did someone say environmental destruction? That is my second favorite thing.
No, it's Harvey Firestone again.
Well, my favorite thing is forced labor camps. That is the cat's meow.
I know that. That's why I don't want you on the show. Why did management let you back on?
It's quite simple, sweetheart. I am filthy rich.
If you could not call me sweetheart, that would be great.
Listen, sweetheart. Business is business. You can't save every sad-eyed creature waddling through the jungle, not when there's money to be made. These pygmy hippos? Cute name. But let's not pretend this is some kind of tragedy. It's not like this is the first time a tiny hippo's vanished from the face of the earth. Ever heard of the Madagascan dwarf hippo? Gone. Approximately met its end round 1000 AD, thanks to a bit of habitat loss and a whole lot of hunting. In fact, that's the going theory for what happened to the other island dwarf hippopotamids, too. Cyprus had one, too. Phenurios minor, if you're feeling academic. Kaput. The Cretan dwarf? Extinct. Maltese, Sicilian, all extinct, baby. Point is, extinction's not an emergency. It's a trend. A tradition, even. Nature's way of trimming the fat. And if clearing a few swamps means I get my rubber faster, well then, the pygmy hippo's just another line item. So let the little guys go. Their time's up. Evolution's just good business.
The pygmy hippopotamus is not predestined to go extinct. It's endangered because of human activity, which means we can save it. And if the pygmy hippo goes away, the truth is that we'll lose more than just one animal. It helps the forest grow by spreading seeds. Without this, we'll lose a grave deal of genetic diversity to their ecosystems.
A single loss would signal serious damage to the West African environment, and more extinctions could follow.
Yes, that's all very touching, I'm sure. But do you know what matters more than the truth? Money! Honestly, do you really think someone like me cares? No. What is this? You said pygmy hippos were less aggressive.
When you threaten a mother's calf, there are consequences.
Oh, the biting! Oh, the off-screen violence!
Hope is not lost. While the pygmy hippopotamus teeters on the edge of extinction, people from around West Africa and beyond are fighting to give this gentle creature a future. One of the most powerful forces behind the effort is community. In Liberia, local people, including former hunters, are being employed as conservation workers. These new jobs offer a lifeline, not only to individuals, but entire communities once dependent on bushmeat for survival. Entire villages have begun pledging to protect the pygmy hippo. And there's a long-term vision taking shape, reconnecting the land itself. Conservation organizations are working to establish habitat corridors, stretches of protected forest that link isolated hippo populations. These corridors allow animals to move, mate, and adapt. Beyond the forests, another safety net exists: zoos. Around the world, zoos are partaking in an international breeding program. Every new pygmy hippo born in captivity is not just an attempt to be the next Moo Deng, although that does seem to be a motivating factor for some zoos.
Oh my God, it's a baby!
But a triumph aimed at maintaining the genetic diversity. Governments are stepping up. In 2025, Liberia launched an ambitious 5-year national environmental plan. Its goals are to strengthen environmental governance, stop deforestation, align with global sustainability targets. Prior to this, in 2014, Norway pledged to donate up to $150 million in aid to Liberia in a partnership to combat deforestation and promote sustainable forest management. While the agreement failed to reach its goals to end deforestation in Liberia by 2020, Liberia stopped new logging contracts, expanded community management, and committed to protect 30% of its forests. The odds are steep, yet from grassroots organizations to global institutions, momentum is building, and the pygmy hippopotamus still has a fighting chance.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos. Next time, we will cover a little guy with a fearsome battle cry.